everybody. This is Bobby Mills with theindependent.com with another version of Endzone Online. Today we're in Aurora, Nebraska with super head coach, future legend, well, legend right now, Kyle Peterson.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Oh, man.
Thanks for coming over.
And thank you for having us. Always a thrill, man. Especially, of course, it's before the season right now, and you have to be pretty doggone excited about what you have coming back this year. So.
Yeah. Fall's always fun, but this is a real exciting time of year, I think, for all football coaches in Nebraska.
So let's see. Let's see if I'm right with your years. Is this your 7th or 8th year?
This will be my 8th year as the head coach.
Okay, so then how many before that?
And I was an assistant for Randy for 14, so this is 22 years in a row.
Yeah, you're a fixture. You're always in this room?
No, I've changed. Actually, I've been in 3 different classrooms.
Okay, well, that's all right.
In my time here.
Same field, though, baby. So this guy here has been, 64-10? Is that right? Could that be right for wins and losses?
Oh, I don't know about 10. I don't know the numbers. We've won a few more than we've lost. I know that.
I think it's pretty wide margin. I figured out where almost 87% of the time that Aurora takes the field, you're on that left side when the score comes out in this column.
We've had a pretty good go with kids the last few years. I know
that's amazing. Have you ever had a losing record here as a head coach? I don't think
not as a head coach.
No.
In my 22 years here, we did have 1 year. Maybe my 3rd or 4th year here, with Coach Hubert, but it's been a long time since we've had a losing record here.
And you've kept it going, and that's tough to step into Coach Hubert's shoes when he left. But so, can you tell me about your assistants? I don't know if anybody's changed since I talked to you last.
There's a few guys that have come and gone in the last few years. Kind of the guys that have been here for a long time. Scott Jones is going through some health issues right now, and he's been in and out of practice. But he's been here longer than I've been here at Aurora.
I don't think he'll ever quit.
No, and I don't think he'll be here forever.
Oh boy!
And Coach Elge has been here for 16, 17 years. Those guys have been here. Like I said, Gary Peters helps with our freshmen, and he's a volunteer guy. But he's been here an awful long time. Some new guys, Cole Ashby's on staff, so a graduate from here, and coached at Nebraska for a couple of years, and we were able to get him back, and he's kind of taken over our defense here. This year anyway, and Casey Lathrop was with us for a couple of years, went back to Gothenburg for a couple of years, and now he's back with us. So we've had a few guys come and go. And James McCartney coaches our defensive line right now, and he teaches over at Bar in Grand Island, but lives here in town. Wife teaches in this building, and he does a great job. He has a pretty extensive playing and coaching background in the state of Kansas.
Well, and he's a terrific coach, man.
Yeah, terrific.
So how many kids do you have out for football this year?
We hover at 9, 12. We're right about 70 kids, which is about where we've been the last few years. We always, for whatever reason, mix a small group or two.
Yeah.
And our junior class is really small this year. Our freshman class is pretty mighty in ability, but they're not very big in numbers.
Yeah.
So, but we're between 68 and 70 kids right now.
And what about the lower grades? Does it look like you might stay C1, or are you going to bounce back up to B?
When the talk was the school board had the opportunity to vote, and there was a lot of conversation about what we were going to do. They looked at the numbers, and there is not a 2-year cycle that exists, kindergarten through 12th grade, that would bring us back into Class B.
I wondered about that.
And at that point in time, they just made the decision that we just play where the numbers put us. It's not that we're really getting any smaller. In fact, if you would go back over the last 22 years that I've been here, quite a few of those teams would have been in C based off the new classification system.
I wondered about that, yeah. And, but to me, this is a Class C1 size team now, but you sure competed well in B when you were up there, no doubt about that.
Yeah, we put a pretty quality team on the field every week. I know that.
So tell me about your offense this year. A lot of returners, I think. One big one that I like, of course, Carlos. But I saw your. I was going to ask you about this, and I failed to do it. I saw your thing you did with when Mike Sauter came
Right.
somewhere. I don't know whether he was in Hastings or something.
Yeah.
I like that shirt you guys have.
Oh, the Alpha shirt.
Yeah. And I like what that stands for.
Maybe I'll get you one before we leave.
I like that Husky. And I'm thinking, what does that mean? Okay, I think I know what it means, and I didn't, of course. But after they explained it, I thought that was really cool. Do the kids, are they into that thing?
Oh, that's something that is a staple of our program. Those are things that we really believe in. I mean, attitude, loyalty,
Yeah.
ALP, physicality, honor, and accountability are kind of the things that we believe that are staples of our program and have been here for quite some time.
Who decided to have that printed up?
It was a group of coaches that kind of got together and decided that we needed to brand our program to some
Yes.
extent.
Oh,
and then
gosh.
this group of senior boys was pretty instrumental in that.
Well, boy, that looks, I mean, as far as that type of thing, it looks like these seniors are really good at that. I mean, just leaders, and want to have an identity.
This is a real special group of kids. I've always felt like this group has almost been like a bunch of coaches since they've come through. They understand the game really well. They're really good about being attentive to details, and they understand the big picture too, and what we're trying to accomplish. So that was a good group of kids to kind of brand this with.
I think you're right, boy. I can just feel it when I've been on the other sidelines. There's so many kids on yours. Although I might have to ask if I can stand on your side next week. Never have, but because there's so many people. But I might have to witness that. So, you have a returning quarterback, is that right? Also,
We do.
And then lineman, who's in the line that's coming back?
Three of our 5 starters in the offensive line are returning. We're going to mix those kids around a little bit from where they were a year ago, and obviously we have 2 new starters coming in. But it's nice to have returning experience at that level, because we feel like we're probably a little more further along offensively than we normally would be at this point in time, because we return a quarterback, we return a running back, and 3 of our 5 starters in the offensive line.
Good core. And what about defensively? How many kids go both ways?
And, a lot of those kids do go both
suppose.
ways. That's kind of probably what separates us from a lot of the Class B teams that we did play.
Yep.
That most of our kids did play. We maybe had 14 or 15 total starters.
Yeah.
Versus maybe 18 or 20 from a lot of those schools. But we start our linemen on both sides of the football. Our inside linebackers start on both sides, and our defensive backs start on both sides. We have two our only inexperienced group, our outside linebacker group on this team, and we have some really quality kids there. But we're gonna probably play for at least 4 different kids there this Friday night.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed, you're talking about kids going both ways. All the Aurora games I've been to, watching Class B teams that don't really do that, I have not noticed Aurora running out of gas.
Our kids play hard.
They do, and they must be in good shape.
We practice in such a way that our kids have to be in fantastic condition.
They must.
We don't run, and that's my that's my philosophy. We're not ever going to run for the sake of running. Occasionally, discipline leads to that, but
I knew you'd say that.
but not very often does that need to happen.
Not here.
But our kids practice really hard, and we play ourselves into shape. We practice ourselves into shape.
Wow, and that makes good sense. Because I was telling her when I was in high school, I'd put weights on my feet and run down the dry riverbed. That got me in shape for football. No, it didn't. So yeah, we know what you mean. So hey, tell some fans out there why it's not easy to drop down from Class B and familiar teams you're playing into a Class C one where you're playing a lot of new opponents and faces.
Well, I think you have to start with, we lost a lot of rivalries that we've had in Class B for decades here. We were able to keep the Granderland Northwest game.
I'm glad.
And we were able to do that the last 2-year cycle that we dropped down as well. And I hope to continue playing that game, because I think it's fun for our kids and their kids, and it's fun for the fan bases as well.
Isn't it respectful?
Oh, I love what Coach Stein has done with this program over at Northwest. I have nothing but respect for what they do, and their kids play a very physical, hard-nosed brand of football over there since he's been the head coach, and it's a really fun game to play.
Yeah, I've been on the sidelines of other teams. I really hate Aurora, Mr. Mills, or somebody will say, I really hate, but I don't see that when Northwest and Aurora play.
It's on, once we kick the ball off, there's not a lot of love lost between the two schools, but outside of that, it's a very, I think both teams have a lot of respect for what each other has accomplished.
That's good because they'll keep playing the game then, I hope. So, but it's not easy to drop down. It's harder to prepare, or is it?
Well, no, it is, because you get a really good feel when you play the same teams over and over again. You know what you're going to expect from them, what they do against you that maybe they won't do against other teams. So we're kind of starting from scratch in our scouting reports on a lot of these schools. And I don't know that people really realize, maybe across the state, how good the quality of football is in Class C1.
Oh,
the depth and the number of really well coached teams and the number of really good athletes on all of those teams. It doesn't make it easy. Just because you drop classification doesn't mean the schedule really changes a whole lot as far as the quality of the opponent.
No, and looking at your home schedule, there's not one game that I wouldn't want to come over and watch. Yeah. Not only you, but who you're playing.
Really good teams. Really good teams on our schedule. Our kids relish the opportunity to play tough games. When we put that list together, knowing what our district was going to be, we tried to find as many good opponents as we could, and I think we were really fortunate in the schedule that we came up with.
So, can you tell me? I can't remember who you guys play, especially here at home. Do you remember your home games?
Well, I know our first 3 games. Those are the ones that I can remember. And after that, I know who we play. I don't know the order. Obviously, Northwest here this Friday night is a home game. And then Boone Central comes.
Oh, no, that's the one, yeah.
The following Friday, and my goodness, what they've accomplished and what they've done.
Hud's done a good job
They've done a great job, and they have really good athletes. And then we go to Ashland. So what a fun 3 weeks to start our season.
Yeah, I can't. But no McCook though. They did drop down to C1.
McCook is in C1, which just kind of changes that atmosphere as well.
Trip is long though.
Well, for us, the McCook trip was all kind of a short trip. I mean, because we were used to going to Scottsbluff and making those trips every year. But the McCook trip's really not much of a trip for our kids. They're pretty used to that one. If we do what we think we're capable of doing, and McCook does what I think they're going to do this year, we might find a postseason opportunity to play them.
You might. I never thought about that. But so who's in your C1 district this year? I know, but I forgot.
All right, so our district is going to be if you go south, the only school to the south is Fairbury.
Okay.
Central City, St. Paul, and Adams Central. So you've got some quality teams, some teams that if you look, Central City plays us really, really hard every year. Coach Huber does a great job, and what he does offensively is really hard to defend.
Oh, I said every team should play Central City the last 2 years, and they had Jensen. It would benefit every team in the state who wants to play Central City.
He really challenges you in how you're going to get lined up and how you're going to defend them. It's hard to get off the field against Central City because they use 4 downs and they throw it a bunch. And obviously Adams Central and St. Paul they've been really solid the last several years.
Yep.
So that's a really good district.
It is, yeah, and what's it like coaching against your dad? Coaching against Randy?
Well, yeah, Randy he'll probably be in the press box.
Yeah, Randy Huber. Yes, that's one good. Yeah, he's up there.
But yeah, it's fun coaching against Troy, and you never know what he's going to throw out there at you.
Well, he was here, yeah.
I coached with Troy. Troy coached here for 1 year, I think, in maybe a transition period between Hastings College
and stole everything he had.
Yeah, and he's taking.
No. So yeah, that is a good district. What else was I going to ask you? Oh yeah. Are you actually getting new lights in the facility?
They're up.
I can't. That's the only.
You'll be able to see the corners of the end zone now.
So beautiful, and I'm thinking, when are they going to get new lights? That's the only thing I ever wished for this place. That is great.
Yeah, so you'll actually see the new turf now. The new turf came in last year, but you didn't really get to see it a lot because it wasn't lit up very well. But now it's. We practice obviously during 2 days in the mornings, and then we practice every Wednesday morning before school, and it's kind of fun to get under the lights. But it's a lot better lit than it was before.
That's the only thing that they drug their feet on, and maybe they just couldn't do it, man. But that is really good. I'm really happy. And you want to please me, of course, right? So tell me how valuable Carlos Collazo is to you guys. I mean, that kid is incredible and a nice kid.
Yeah, he's a workhorse. He's one of those kids that just gets better as the game goes on. You kind of get him lathered up and give him a lot of carries, and he's one of those kids that he's one of the more competitive kids that I've ever coached.
Oh, man.
When in the toughest games is when he plays the best. Defensively, he's taken a big step this year.
See,
Last year, obviously we used him in our defensive backfield, and he was a really good player defensively, but he seems to really taken some ownership, and he's the guy that gets us lined up. He communicates things back there for us, and is kind of the quarterback back there for us. So I think you're going to see obviously a kid that's a really good back, but he's going to be a much better defensive player than he was a year ago for us.
That's good because, most coaches, well, do I want to use him in the defensive backfield? But you have to.
You got to use your best kids. You've got to play your best kids, and really, you're doing your kids a disservice if you don't.
And he'd want to be there.
Absolutely.
So, but I like his attitude, and I think you got, like I said, you got a good bunch of kids this year. So, man, I wish you the best of luck, because it looks like everything is going well right now. You've lost one kid for the season, but hey, man, every other than him, we're doing okay for injuries.
Oh yeah, we're doing well. Injuries are part of sport, unfortunately, and your heart breaks for those kids, especially the seniors that aren't going to have a chance to play that final year. But it is a part of sport, and we do definitely live by the mantras, next man up.
That's exactly right.
And ultimately, an injury is an opportunity for somebody, and it's going to be a younger kid now. It's going to have a chance to step in and play a role, or maybe multiple. You don't replace Britton Kimling with one kid.
No, you don't.
But you can replace him with multiple kids and give a lot of opportunities to kids out there that have earned it.
Yeah, and it may not be the next man up, it may be the next few guys
up.
Take somebody's place like that. So, well, great, man. I wish you the best of luck this year, and I don't ever have to tell people to support your team on the road or here. So I'll be here Friday. I can't miss that, man.
It's always a fun one.
Oh gosh, and this will be a big opener for you. And like I said, I get out and support that team. Don't have to say it, but I will. And on the road, I'm sure they follow you there. So
we have really good following. This community supports this team. This community supports this school really in everything that we do. So
good.
They follow us every place.
And that's probably why you deserve a big raise for next year.
Yeah.
We'll work on that for you.
Okay, sounds great.
Peterson, thank you for gracing us, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming over, Bobby.
All right. Coach Kyle Peterson for the Aurora Huskies open up this Friday at home against GI Northwest. For Kenna behind the camera, Bobby Mills for theindependent.com saying we'll see you next time on Endzone Online.